Hello everyone, now let us discuss about the summary of antiarrhythmic drugs. So, what are arrhythmias? Cardiac arrhythmias refer to a group of conditions that cause the heart to beat irregularly, too slowly or too quickly. There are of several categories of arrhythmias including bradycardia or a slowed heart rate, tachycardia or a fast heartbeat. Irregular heartbeat is also known as flutter or fibrillation. Coming to the just basic mechanism of cardiac arrhythmias. Cardiac arrhythmias are caused by four mechanisms. They may occur because of after depolarizations, re-entry mechanisms because of ectopic pacemaker activity, and due to heart block. Now coming to the antiarrhythmic drugs. The antiarrhythmic drugs are broadly categorized into four classes specifically, and there is another class called miscellaneous. Class 1 are membrane stabilizing agents. They are again subcategorized into three types: 1A, 1B and 1C. Examples of 1A are quinidine, procainamide and disopyramide. The examples of 1B are lidocaine and mexiletine. The examples of 1C are propafenone and flecainide. Next one is class 2. They are anti-adrenergic agents. Example are propranolol and esmolol. The class 3 are agents which widen the action potential. Example are amiodarone, dronidarone, sotalol, dofetilide and ibutilide. And class 4 drugs are calcium channel blockers. Example are verapamil and diltiazem. The miscellaneous are the drugs which are used to treat paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia, which is adenosine and digoxin, and used to treat AV block are atropine. Now, as we have discussed, the antiarrhythmic drugs are mainly of four classes: class 1, class 2, class 3 and class 4. The class 1 are specifically membrane stabilizing agents or sodium channel blockers. The class 2 are beta blockers. Example is propranolol, esmolol and sotalol. Class 3 are agents which widen the action potential. Example are amiodarone, dronidarone, sotalol, dofetilide and ibutilide. Class 4 are calcium channel blockers. Example are verapamil and diltiazem. Now coming to class 1A drugs. The class 1A drugs are also called as sodium channel blockers, and they are again divided into three types: 1A, 1B and 1C. So examples of 1A are quinidine, procainamide and disopyramide, and examples of 1B are lidocaine and mexiletine, and examples of 1C is propafenone, flecainide and encainide. Now the class 1 drugs are further categorized into three subcategories based on the rate of depolarization of phase 0. The class 1A drugs, they moderately decrease the rate of depolarization of phase 0, whereas class 1B drugs, they have little decrease, and 1C drugs, they have marked decrease in the rate of depolarization of phase 0. And additionally, 1A drugs act on open state of sodium channels and won't act on the resting channels. Whereas 1B drugs, they block the sodium channels more in inactivated state than in open state. Whereas 1C, they are the most potent sodium channel blockers. They act on open state channels and they have the longest recovery time. And additional important points are class 1A drugs, they prolong the repolarization due to potassium channel block. Addition to sodium channel, they also block potassium channels, 1A drugs. When it comes to 1B drugs, they possess opening of potassium channels. When it comes to 1C drug, they have high proarrhythmic potential when given chronically, and they even cause sudden deaths. So first of all, coming to 1A, as we have discussed, there are three drugs. The first one is quinidine, next one is procainamide, and then disopyramide. First, coming to quinidine, it has various actions. First one is it blocks the sodium channels in open state. This reduces the automaticity and phase 0 depolarization. The next one is it has anti-vagal action, because of which it enhances the prolongation of atrial effective refractive period and minimizes the disparity of refractory period in atrial fibers. The next one is it has potassium channel block, because of which it leads to prolongation of action potential duration. And next is, it affects the recovery of sodium and potassium channels, due to which it leads to lengthening of effective refractory period. And additionally, due to weak alpha adrenergic blockade and direct cardiac depressant action, it leads to fall in blood pressure. And at higher concentrations, quinidine blocks L-type calcium channels. These are the various pharmacological actions of quinidine. Coming to the adverse effects, they are nausea and vomiting, hypotension and hypoglycemia. Myocardial depressant action may precipitate cardiac failure in patients with low cardiac reserve. The overdoses cause synchronism, which involves the symptoms like tinnitus, vertigo, deafness, headache, visual disturbance, and mental changes. Decrease in the renal clear of digoxin is seen, and biliary clearance of digitoxin is also decreased. This may precipitate digitalis toxicity. Quinidine may precipitate digitalis toxicity. Coming to the clinical uses, atrial and ventricular arrhythmias. It is used to treat atrial and ventricular arrhythmias. Now it is seldomly used because of its adverse effects and the risk of tortuous de pointes, sudden cardiac death, or ventricular fibrillation. And also due to idiosyncratic angioedema, vascular collapse, and thrombocytopenia. It is used as a parenteral alternative to quinine. Coming to the next drug, it is disopyramide. It has a prominent cardiac depressant action and anticholinergic action, but it has no alpha adrenergic blocking action. Disopyramide, it does not have any alpha adrenergic blocking action. It has no effect on sinus rate, but direct depressant action and antivagal action are seen. The adverse effects are, it has less GI effects but prominent anticholinergic side effects like dry mouth, constipation, and urinary retention are seen. It carries a risk of torticollis de pointes. And the depression of cardiac contractility is more prominent in disopyramide. Coming to the uses, it is used to treat ventricular arrhythmias. It is used as a second-line drug in the prevention of recurrence of ventricular arrhythmias. It is also used to treat vagal-mediated atrial fibrillation and used in the maintenance therapy after cardioversion of atrial fibrillation or atrial flutter. And it is used for symptomatic relief in hypertrophic cardiac myopathy with left ventricular outflow obstruction. Coming to the next drug of 1A, it is procainamide. It is an orally active amide derivative of procaine, which is a local anesthetic agent. In liver, acetylation leads to N-acetyl procainamide. Procainamide, when it undergoes metabolism in the liver, it is converted to N-acetyl procainamide, which has no sodium channel blocking property, but it blocks the potassium channels and prolongs the repolarization. And this is responsible for torticollis de pointes occurring in procainamide toxicity. And it is less effective in suppressing ectopic automaticity than quinidine. It does not have any antivagal action, and it has a weak depressant action on cardiac contractility and AV function conduction. It is not an alpha blocker and causes less fall in BP. Procainamide is not an alpha blocker and does not cause fall in BP, but at higher doses, fall in BP may be seen due to ganglionic blockade, not because of alpha blocking. Coming to the adverse effects, the GI effects are tolerated better, but nausea and vomiting may occur. Long-term high doses leads to systemic lupus erythematosus in slow acetylators. And cardiac toxicity and ability to cause torticollis de pointes are significant. Additionally, hallucination, mental confusion, weakness occur at higher doses. Flushing and hypotension are seen in rapid IV injection. The uses are, procainamide is used to treat ventricular tachycardia, supraventricular tachycardia, and prevention of ventricular fibrillation. So overall class 1A drugs are quinidine, procainamide, and disopyramide. So coming to alpha blocking activity, quinine has alpha blocking activity, but procainamide and disopyramide does not have any alpha blocking property. and the risk of torticollis de pointes is present in all three drugs, whereas the antivagal action is seen in quinidine and disopyramide. But procainamide does not have antivagal action. It has no alpha blocking action and antivagal action. Now coming to class 1B drugs. Examples are lidocaine and mexiletine. Coming to lidocaine, it is the most commonly used local anesthetic and popular antiarrhythmic drug in ICU, and it has no proarrhythmic potential and least cardiotoxic antiarrhythmic. Lidocaine is the least cardiotoxic antiarrhythmic. Coming to the mechanism of action, it suppresses the automaticity in ectopic foci, enhances phase 4 depolarization in partially depolarized or stretched Purkinje fibers. And after depolarizations are antagonized, but SA node automaticity is not depressed. The SA node automaticity is not depressed with lidocaine. And the rate of phase 0 depolarization and conduction velocity in AV bundle or ventricles is not decreased. And it abbreviates the action potential duration in Purkinje fibers and ventricular muscle. But it has no effect on the action potential duration and effective refractive period of atrial fibers. Hence, lidocaine is ineffective in treating atrial arrhythmias. And it is a blocker of inactivated sodium channels more than the open state, and as such it is relatively selective for partially depolarized cells and those with longer action potential duration. Additionally, normal ventricular and conducting fibers are minimally affected, but damaged and depolarized fibers are significantly depressed by lidocaine. It has very high first pass metabolism when and is administered intravenously. The lidocaine clearance has been used to estimate the hepatic blood flow. This is an important point. Lidocaine clearance has been used to estimate the hepatic blood flow. The uses are: it is a drug of choice for ventricular arrhythmias due to digitalis toxicity. Slow IV injection is used to suppress ventricular tachycardia and to prevent ventricular fibrillation, and it is ineffective in atrial arrhythmias. The adverse effects are: excessive dose may cause neurological effects like drowsiness, nausea, paresthesia, blurred vision, disorientation, nystagmus, twitching, and fits. Only excessive doses cause cardiac depression and hypotension. Coming to the next drug of class 1B, it is mexiletine. It is a local anesthetic and orally active. It is derived from lignocaine or lidocaine. The automaticity in Purkinje fibers is reduced by decreasing the phase 4 slope and by increasing the threshold voltage. The reducing the rate of phase 0 depolarization in ischemia, it may convert one-way block to two-way block. By mexiletine, by reducing the rate of phase 0 depolarization in ischemia, it may convert one-way block to two-way block. Adverse effects are bradycardia, hypotension, accentuation of AV block may occur with IV injection of mexiletine. And neurological side effects like tremor, nausea and vomiting are common. Additionally, dizziness, confusion, blurred vision and ataxia can occur. The uses are: parenteral mexiletine is an alternative to lidocaine for treating post-infarction sinister ventricular arrhythmias. Coming to class 1C drugs, they are propafenone and flecainide. Coming to propafenone, by blocking sodium channel, it depresses the impulse transmission and has profound effect on Purkinje fibers. It prolongs the action potential duration and has beta adrenergic blocking property, and it can precipitate congestive heart failure and bronchospasm. Hence, it is not suitable for patients with damaged hearts and ischemic heart disease. It is metabolized by CYP2D6 and it can show variable rate of metabolism. And CYP2D6 inhibitors like floxilitine can increase its bioavailability and plasma half-life. Coming to the adverse effects of propafenone, they are nausea and vomiting, blurred vision, constipation and bitter taste. The uses are, it is used in maintaining the sinus rhythm in patients with paroxysmal atrial fibrillation, and it is used for prophylaxis of PSVT involving AV node or accessory pathway. It is also used to treat ventricular extrasystoles and ventricular tachycardia. Coming to the next drug of 1C, flecainide. It is a prototype of 1C drug and it markedly delays the sodium channel recovery. It has no effect on the action potential duration and no adrenergic, beta adrenergic blocking property is seen. It suppresses the ventricular extrasystoles, ventricular tachycardia, Wolff-Parkinson's White syndrome and other tachycardia. It prevents the recurrences of atrial fibrillation and PSVT, paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia, and it is used in resistant and life-threatening ventricular arrhythmias. Coming to class 2 antiarrhythmic drugs. By this we have finished class 1 drugs. Now coming to class 2 antiarrhythmic drugs, the examples are propranolol and esmolol. The class 2 antiarrhythmic drugs are nothing but anti-adrenergic drugs. Example is propranolol and esmolol. They suppress the adrenergically mediated ectopic activity to reduce they are used to reduce mortality following myocardial infarction. They are used to prevent recurrence of tachyarrhythmias which are provoked by increased sympathetic activity. Now coming to propranolol, it is a non-selective beta blocker and at high doses some quinidine-like direct membrane stabilizing action is noted. And it has mild depressant action on sinoatrial node automaticity and marked decrease in the slope of phase 4 depolarization and automaticity in SA node and Purkinje fibers when the same has been increased under adrenergic influence. Usually it has mild depressant action on SA node automaticity, but under the increased adrenergic influence, it can markedly decrease the slope of phase 0 depolarization and automaticity in the SA node, Purkinje fibers and other ectopic foci. It prolongs the effective refractive period of AV node and does not show any effect on the excitability, and it also decreases the conduction velocity in AV node and do not alter the action potential duration. So the propranolol, it slows the channel responses and slow channel responses and after depolarizations have been induced by catecholamines are suppressed. By taking propranolol, the slow channel responses and after depolarizations that have been induced by catecholamines are suppressed. Thereby arrhythmias which occur due to after depolarizations can be suppressed. And similarly, reentrant arrhythmias that involve AV node like paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia or that are dependent on the slow channel and depressed fast channel are also abolished. Reentrant arrhythmias like PSVT are also abolished by taking propranolol. And additionally, it prolongs the refractory period interval and it causes depression of cardiac contractility. The depression of cardiac contractility and BP are mild. Coming to the uses, it is used to treat inappropriate sinus tachycardia and it is used in atrial and nodal extrasystoles which are provoked by emotion or exercise and need to be treated only when they are symptomatic and disturbing. It is less effective than adenosine and verapamil in terminating the PSVT, but can be used to prevent the recurrences. It is used to control the ventricular rate and it is highly effective in sympathetically mediated arrhythmias, which are seen in pheochromocytoma and during anesthesia with halothane. And additionally, digitalis induced and thrombotoxosis associated tachyarrhythmias may also be suppressed by using propranolol. IV injection may terminate torsidis depointis. The IV injection of propranolol may terminate torsidis depointis. Coming to the next drug, it is esmolol. It is an ultra short acting beta 1 selective blocker, and it is very useful for emergency control of ventricular rate in atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter. It is effective in treating supraventricular tachycardia, atrial flutter and fibrillations, and it is mainly useful for arrhythmias associated with anesthesia, where rapid developing beta adrenergic blockade is required. It is useful to treat arrhythmias associated with anesthesia. It is also used in reducing heart rate and BP during and after cardiac surgery, in aortic dissection, or in early treatment of myocardial infarction. And esmolol may also terminate Torsades de Pointes. Coming to the next, class 3 anti-arrhythmic drugs. These are the agents which widen the action potential. Examples of class 3 antiarrhythmic drugs are amiodarone, dronedarone, sotalol, dofetilide and ibutilide. Now, the special feature of class 3 antiarrhythmic drugs is that they prolong the cardiac action potential to an extent contributed by blocking some of the potassium channels involved in the cardiac repolarization, including the outward rectifier potassium channels. They prolong the cardiac action potential, which is contributed by blocking some of the outward rectifier potassium channels. And the characteristic action of this class is prolongation of repolarization or phase 3. Prolongation of phase 3 is seen with class 3 antiarrhythmic drugs. Please remember 3 and 3. Class 3 antiarrhythmic drugs, they prolong the phase 3 repolarization. And since they prolong the action potential, they have proarrhythmic effects, notably Torsades de Pointes. Now coming to the mechanism of action of class 3 drugs, they prolong the repolarization or phase 3. This results in the prolongation of action potential and increases the effective refractory period, because of which the tissue remains refractory even after full repolarization. And because of increasing the effective refractory period, the reentrant tachycardias and ectopic pacemaker activity is suppressed by taking class 3 antiarrhythmic drugs. Now coming to amiodarone. Amiodarone is an iodine containing highly lipid soluble long-acting antiarrhythmic drug. It exerts multiple actions of class 1, 2, 3 and 4. Coming to the various pharmacological actions of amiodarone, the first one is it prolongs the action potential duration and QT interval and reduces the non-uniformity of refractiveness. This occurs as it blocks the outward rectifier potassium channels. The next action is it blocks the inactivated sodium channels with rapid rate of channel recovery. This leads to depression of conduction cells that are partially depolarized or have longer action potential duration. The next is amiodarone. It partially inhibits myocardial calcium channels. And it also has non-competitive beta adrenergic blocking property and alters the thyroid function. Amiodarone has non-competitive beta adrenergic blocking property and it alters the thyroid function. One more important point in amiodarone is the risk of Torsades de Pointes is low for amiodarone. And additionally, the conduction is slowed and ectopic automaticity are markedly depressed, but the SA node automaticity is slightly affected. It is incompletely and slowly absorbed from the GIT and it is extensively bound to tissues and has large volume of distribution and has long elimination half-life, that is around 10 to 100 days, and it accumulates in the body during repetitive dosing. For this reason, a loading dose is required. And for life-threatening arrhythmias, it is given intravenously via a central vein as it causes phlebitis if given in peripheral vessels. It is metabolized in liver primarily by CYP3A4 and one of its metabolite is active. Coming to the uses, amiodarone is used for resistant ventricular tachycardia and recurrent ventricular fibrillations. It is effective in ventricular and supraventricular arrhythmias, including PSVT, nodal and ventricular tachycardias, and atrial fibrillations. It is used to maintain sinus rhythm in atrial fibrillation when other drugs have failed. And the rapid termination of ventricular and supraventricular arrhythmias can be obtained by IV injection. The Wolff-Parkinson's-White syndrome tachycardia is terminated by suppression of both normal and aberrant pathways. And the long duration of action of amiodarone makes it suitable for chronic prophylactic therapy. Coming to the adverse effects, the dose-related adverse effects like fall in BP, bradycardia, myocardial depression occur on IV injection and after drug accumulation. Additionally, nausea, gastrointestinal upset may also be seen with oral medication, especially during the loading dose. Even hepatitis may occur rarely, and photosensitization and sunburn like skin pigmentation, which leads to slate gray or bluish discoloration of skin, is seen. And as amiodarone affects the thyroid function, thyroid abnormalities like goiter and hypothyroidism are rare, but hyperthyroidism is more common, connected with its iodine content and inhibition of peripheral conversion of T4 to T3. It also causes pulmonary alveolitis and fibrosis, which is late on onset but may be reversible. Peripheral neuropathy generally manifests as weakness of shoulder and pelvic muscles. These are some of the adverse effects of amiodarone. Coming to the next drug, it is dronidarone. It is recently introduced non-iodinated congener of amiodarone. It is a related benzofuran. Dronidarone is a benzofuran, and like amiodarone, dronidarone is a multi-channel blocker. It inhibits delayed outward rectifier and other types of cardiac potassium channels. It also inhibits inward sodium channel and L-type calcium channel. And the non-competitive beta-adrenergic blocking activity is more marked in dronidarone than amiodarone. But it does not interfere with thyroid function. Dronidarone does not interfere with thyroid function. It increases the myocardial action potential duration, effective refractory period, and slows the AV conduction. Coming to the adverse effects of dronidarone, they are gastrointestinal disturbances, bradycardia, weakness, cough, and dermatological reactions. Risk of torticollis de pointes is low, though it prolongs the QT interval. Hypothyroidism, pulmonary fibrosis, and peripheral neuropathy does not occur in dronidarone. Hypothyroidism, pulmonary fibrosis, and peripheral neuropathy does not occur in dronidarone, but they occur in amiodarone. And it is contraindicated in moderate to severe congestive heart failure, second and third degree AV block, and permanent atrial fibrillation. Coming to the uses of dronidarone, its clinical use is limited to supraventricular arrhythmias. It is primarily indicated to maintain the sinus rhythm in hemodynamically stable patients of paroxysmal or non-permanent atrial fibrillation. It is used to control the ventricular rate during the atrial fibrillation. Coming to the next drug, it is sotalol. It is a non-selective beta-adrenergic blocking agent, and it has a prominent class 3 action by prolonging the repolarization and by blocking the cardiac inward rectifier potassium channels. Since sotalol blocks the inward rectifier potassium channel, it delays the slow outward potassium current, and this leads to prolongation of cardiac action potential and QT interval. It is a racemic mixture whose D isomer has pure class 3 activity, and L isomer is a beta blocker and also has class 3 activity. It is not a sodium channel blocker and does not depress the conduction in fast response tissue, but it delays AV conduction and prolongs the effective refractory period. Coming to the uses, Sotalol is used to treat PSVTs, used to suppress ventricular ectopic beats, short runs of ventricular tachycardias, and it is of clinical use in patients in whom beta-adrenergic antagonists are not contraindicated. And it is contraindicated in patients with long QT interval. The risk factors are it may cause torticollis de pointis, and monitoring of potassium levels is essential whenever a patient is given sotalol. Coming to the next drug, it is dofetilide. This new antiarrhythmic drugs prolongs the action potential duration and effective refractory period by selectively blocking rapid component of delayed rectifier current without affecting other channels and receptors. It has no autonomic or peripheral actions. So it is termed as pure class 3 antiarrhythmic drugs. Dofetilide is termed as pure class 3 antiarrhythmic drugs, and it does not have any ANS or peripheral actions. And it is mainly excreted unchanged in urine and produces fewer side effects. And it is contraindicated in the presence of hypokalemia and bradycardia, and it carries a risk of torticollis de pointis. Coming to the uses, it can be used to convert the atrial fibrillation to sinus rhythm, but it is more effective in maintaining the sinus rhythm in converted patients. And the chronic therapy does not increase mortality rate in patients with high risk sudden cardiac death or post myocardial infarction. Ibutilide, this is a new antiarrhythmic drug and it blocks the rapid inward rectifier current. The uses are, it is used for IV injection for the conversion of atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter to sinus rhythm, and patients who respond generally convert within 20 to 30 minutes of the injection. And the efficacy is higher in recent onset cases and in atrial flutter compared to atrial fibrillation. Ibutilide also holds a risk of torticollis de pointis. Next are class 4 antiarrhythmic drugs. These are nothing but calcium channel blocking agents. The mainly used calcium channel blocking agents are verapamil and diltiazem. They block the voltage sensitive calcium channels and mainly the L-type calcium channels. Now coming to the overall mechanism of action, they slow the conduction in SA and AV node, where the action potential propagation depends on the inward calcium current, and this results in slowing of heart rate and terminating supraventricular tachycardia by causing partial AV block. They also shorten the plateau of action potential and reduce the force of contraction, and this suppresses the premature ectopic groups. And finally, they lead to decreased calcium entry and decreased after depolarizations. This is the overall mechanism of calcium channel blockers. Coming to drugs, the first one is verapamil. The mechanism of action is it blocks the L-type calcium channel and delays their recovery. It depresses the calcium mediated depolarization, and additionally verapamil has negative ionotropic effect. It is given orally because IV injections are dangerous and almost never needed. It has a plasma half-life of 6 to 8 hours and undergoes extensive first-pass metabolism, more marked for isomer that is responsible for cardiac effects. Slow preparations are available but are less effective owing to the metabolism in liver. The adverse effects are verapamil may mainly cause constipation because of its effect on calcium channel in GI nerves and smooth muscles. It also carries a risk of causing cardiac failure and heart block. Coming to the drug interactions, contraindications and uses. Verapamil displaces digoxin from its tissue binding site and also reduces its renal clearance, predisposing to digoxin accumulation and toxicity. And verapamil is contraindicated in patients with Wolff-Parkinson's-White syndrome, and it is ineffective and dangerous in ventricular dysarrhythmias or because the ventricular tachycardia may convert to ventricular fibrillation. It is also contraindicated in patients with partial heart block and sick sinus. The uses are verapamil is a drug of choice to prevent the recurrent attacks of PSVT, and it is also used to control the ventricular rate in atrial fibrillation. Coming to the next drug, it is diltiazem. The mechanism of action is it blocks the L-type calcium channels, both cardiac and vascular. It is somewhat less potent vasodilator than nifedipine and verapamil, but it has modest direct negative ionotropic effect. Direct depression of SA and AV nodal conduction are equivalent to verapamil. Bradycardia and depression of contractility are less marked in diltiazem when compared to verapamil. And it is an alternative to verapamil for termination as well as prophylaxis of PSVT. And for rapid control of ventricular rate in ventricular fibrillation, diltiazem is preferred over verapamil because it targets the heart rate and causes less hypotension and myocardial depression. And this can be even used in the presence of mild to moderate congestive heart failure patients. Coming to the miscellaneous drugs. First one is adenosine. So adenosine is an ultra short acting endogenous purine signal molecule, and more than 90% of the episodes of PSVT are terminated within 30 seconds by administering adenosine. The mechanism of action is it activates acetylcholine sensitive potassium channels to increase the inward rectifier current, and this causes the membrane hyperpolarization, and it indirectly reduces the calcium current in AV node. This leads to depression of reentrant circuit through AV node, and this is the reason for termination of majority of PSVTs. It indirectly reduces the calcium current and leads to the depression of reentrant circuit in the AV node, and this is the reason for termination of majority of PSVTs. The side effects are shortness of breath, chest pain, fall in BP, dizziness and flushing. Contraindications are bronchospasm may be precipitated in asthmatics. In such cases, verapamil is the drug of choice instead of adenosine. And patients who are on carbamazepine are at greater risk of developing heart block when they are administered with adenosine. The next drug is atropine. When AV block is due to vagal overactivity, example in digitalis toxicity and some cases of myocardial infarction, atropine is used to treat AV block. And atropine abbreviates the AV node effective refractive period and increases the conduction velocity in bundle of His. And AV block can be improved by administering intramuscular atropine in the dose of 0.6 to 1.2 mg. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for further videos on pharmacology and other related pharmaceutical sciences.